Okay, so we will continue with Carlsen Anand. Well, you know, like we said, we have a day and a bit before the match. And let's see the next game that maybe tiny bit less happy for Anand, of course. Okay. E4. Of course, those players can play every opening that you want to imagine. E4, D4, you name it. Everything you want, they can play. C5 by Anand. Actually, this is fascinating to see those games one after the other. So in 2008, I think it was 8, we have seen this super sharp Sicilian Najdorf attacking everything, hanging, crazy. Okay. Bishop b5 check. You know, usually it takes people to get to 50 years old to start playing that solid chess. Carlsen did it like, you know, in 5 years. Like playing very solid. I mean, actually, this was played a lot by another great player. He played it in a match against Gelfand a few times, Kramnik, in their candidate matches, I think in '94. It's a very solid line. Okay, I played it also a tiny bit with white and black, but of course, not like those great players. But it's just, you know, you want tiny bit to avoid theory, you want tiny bit to play solid. It's every Najdorf player has to learn this a bit. Bishop d7 is considered the most principled, solid approach. Knight d7 or knight c6 are the most fighting approaches. For example, if we will have the match, I mean, you know, we will have this position in the match, I think we might see one bishop b5 by Carlsen. I mean, why not? Take, take, c4. Before the knight gets into c3, okay, c4 is being played. Knight to f6, knight to c3. g6. Okay, basically, what is white playing for? Something like this. Basically, just having a Maroczy position. Okay, something like that. White is tiny better, just tiny bit more space. Tiny better for white. Okay, nothing dramatic, but maybe even like tiny better for white is not the best expression. Maybe tiny more comfortable to play, but this is where they are heading. Okay, g6. Bishop g7, f3. There were some very big games involving this line first. Castle. It's just a very beautiful line. Actually, no. Yeah, castle, castle, and now f3. And now black has a very cool idea. Rook c8, taking this pawn, and now this crazy move. d5. Anyone seen this before? No. Okay, I will give you, I mean, this pawn is only under attack 3 times, the most guarded square by white. But what is happening here? You get tiny bit to think. Well, what's happening if white? Okay, if white take with this c pawn, maybe rook take knight for free is not bad. But what happened with this critical move? Take it with the knight, so I cannot take it with the pawn. But what happens if the knight takes? e6. That's the brilliant idea, and this is considered equal for black.
Good job. Halfway there.
Halfway. So this why Carlsen first played, well, not this, f3. And the idea is that if castle, you will play bishop e3. That's really the idea. And the knight will be defended so that after e6, the knight can retreat. And then it's normal position. Anand played queen c7. Okay, but white is tiny behind. I wouldn't say behind in development, but black will make effort to provoke weaknesses so that you will have some counter shot with this bishop. b3, queen a5. Bishop b2. Knight c6. Usually white likes the bishop on e3 and the queen on d2. There were some, I mean, I wonder if queen d2, still knight c6. If this move, is this move legal? I guess this move might be legal as well. Which move? Yeah, queen c5 might be the thing. But queen c5 may be here. Maybe just knight c6. Because taking is very nice for black. He gets his pawn to control this central square. And okay, knight d5 just looks threatening, but really this is not much. Black would like to exchange all the minor. Without the minor pieces, black is just equal. Why white can claim something? Because he says, okay, I have tiny bit more space. The more pieces we have, the more I like it. So that's his idea. Okay. Knight c6. Castle. No knight takes e4 because the knight is defending it. Right? Okay, also tiny important to see some basic tactics, but for example, take. If take here, I think first check is quite strong. But take, queen b6, and now c5. Good move. Winning. Okay. I remember looking at this game. Actually, I think I was doing commentary for ICC for this game. I think so. It looked like by any standards, black has to be okay here. And such a bizarre move, like knight e2, you don't really see that. And because usually, what does white usually want to do? White wants to play this and put the rooks on open files, d1, let's put it, d1 and e1, and then maybe play knight d5 at some point, something like that. Something like this white wants to play. But the problem, there are some tactical problems. For example, I mean, now this is no joke, right? Immediately this is kind of winning. If this always, there is the intermediate check, and the queen's under attack, and just this basic pattern, very basic. Exchange queens, removing a defender, and just a pawn up for black, for example. So not very easy for white to build his normal play. And this looks, by any standards, you know, if it wasn't Magnus Carlsen with white, you say, hey, white is just moving the pieces, he has nothing there. Which is probably true. The thing that is amazing, and that's why I said, those are the types of positions that Carlsen might want to play more, and Anand just cannot play the way that he has been playing the last year. He cannot. You're the world champion, you get equality with black, the game should be a draw, usually. I mean, okay, really, the great players, once they kind of equalize with black, that's it, it's all right. I mean, white has this tiny pressure, almost impossible to win games with black at high level, world championship matches, very, very difficult. That's it. But Anand just fell apart here. I mean, in many games. And again, for our match that's going to start in a day and a half, day and a bit, if you want. You know, Anand doesn't have the luxury to lose those positions. Rook d8. Knight d7 is a normal move, for example. Just challenging the diagonal. Rook d8 is also logical. Which ideas can you, will you, should you suggest for black? F5 is kind of creating a lot of weaknesses over there.
Swing your queen, your black queen over the king's side.
But where will you have any attack at all?
Queen c5 or b6.
And then what? Okay, I'll play king h1. I'll play king h1.
And then your knight e7, knight d7.
Okay, so knight d7. I mean, okay, and then what?
Trade off.
But you will trade one piece. So let's say queen c5. Okay. Move this. Okay, beautiful. Now what?
Knight e5.
95. Okay, what? But what? I mean, nothing is, probably it's actually better the way that Anand played, but okay.
What a surprise.
Yeah, this wasn't a very pretty game. But I think that logically, when you see those structures, the plans for black, Anand played actually the most natural plan. The plans for black are working on an a6 b5 break. I want to get rid of this pawn. So, for example, rook fc8, a6 and b5, supernatural ideas, or rook fd8, e6 and d5. You want to break through. I mean, okay, your opponent has more space. There is no doubt. White has more space. So you want to break through. So either e6, d5, Anand played, a6, b5. It can be prepared in different ways, but that's where you want to go. Rook fd8, bishop, queen b6. Immediately, right? Nothing to think. You see the spin, you go away. d5 immediately. Okay, big one. Same ideas as before. Okay, what is his idea?
If white takes, I'll play e6.
This one free.
I don't know what you're saying.
If white take the pawn, I'll take the pawn.
Oh yeah. Oh okay.
Well, what did you think?
Okay,
If,
yeah. Never mind.
yeah, if white take, what then? I take the pawn.
Knight takes, and then if you take back, then rook takes.
Yeah, that's what he wants to play. That's what he has to play. And he's gonna take this one back. Now it's tiny bit maybe more tricky. What happens after take? Who can pretend to calculate everything perfect and tell me? And then?
White has bishop or a pawn.
Huh?
White has a bishop and a
Bishop? Why doesn't have bishop?
knight.
A knight.
Knight.
Knight or oh, no.
Two knights.
2 knights? Final answer? That's it? No, you want to consult the crowd, friendly phone, something, however wheels they have? Nothing?
Yeah, it's two. I think it's 2 knights.
Rook and 2 knights.
Yeah, rook and 2 knights.
Rook and 2. That's it? Okay. Rook and 2 knight it is. But what would black play after all this line? Here, I'll be nice and I'll move my finger on the board, right? That's the best you can get. Best. Take, take, king move, take, take, take with the A rook. Rook take. Now I move for black. And actually this is super important. We will speak tiny bit about calculation. Yes, we're giving Carlsen and Anand their spot, but we can learn actually a lot from just this position. What then for black? Ah, queen e3 forking the knight. Take, take, move, check and take, 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 forking the knight. Now this is something super important what we just did. This is something super important. And you know what? We're actually going to take a timeout for a second from this game. I will show you Kramnik against Karpov game. It's a very similar idea. You know, when we calculate, we have to follow forcing moves. We have to. We have to follow checks and captures because chess is a game of material, right? We have to follow those. So we have to follow checks. But what we really should do, after we finish all the checks, captures, checks, those are forced line. That's forced line. Then we need to stop and see minimum the next move. So basically, if you want to think correctly, you're going to tell yourself, I have to see all the forcing lines. Check, capture, check. Well, what we had here? Nothing other than that. Look. Capture, check, and capture, but doesn't matter. Check, move away from check, capture. This is basically going from point A to point B. That's it. Everything was forced. There was nothing, no way out. Now, you still need one more move. After I finished all the sequence of forced captures, what's now? One more move. And that's why I said one more move. Time out from this Carlsen Anand. Let's look at what?
That's what happens to undefended pieces.
That's what happened to undefended pieces, right? I mean, what? John Nunn was the one saying it, right? Loose pieces drop off. This. Beautiful. Okay. Just jumping into the middle quickly. Okay. Here, you know, you can have all of your big, huge puzzle. So, take. That was played. Is it right? Is it wrong? I don't know. What's happening after this line?
After bishop take.
After bishop take g7.
He takes bishop and g.
Huh?
Bishop.
Take the bishop. Excellent.
And queen g4.
But queen g4 just king move somewhere.
Knight f5.
Knight f5. I take the knight. Knight takes rook. How much material are we speaking about? You gave how many points? Which pieces white gave? White gave?
First the bishop, then the knight, now the rook.
Okay, rook, knight, bishop. Oh no, Ben here. And he took a queen and a pawn. And now one more move. All those were forcing moves. Capture, check, capture. One more move for white. Queen where? Queen to g4. Okay, I will play pawn take queen. Oops. Queen b3 is not bad. What's your idea with queen b? But it's not the best move, the right move. Which pieces?
The knight and bishop.
Right, but I can move the bishop, for example, from b7 to d5 to protect the knight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was or the knight from c4 to d6 to protect the bishop. But right way of thinking. Okay, well, we will get it. So once again, here, see, magic finger. Take, take, check, take, take, take.
Queen to e2.
Queen to e2. Bravo. You see? Luckily for Karnik, he sees that too. But undefended pieces, right? So we see all the forcing moves, one after the other, forcing moves. And then we need to see what if we have. Many times you don't have. But if you have one move after that does something, undefended, that's the right way. That's why I said your idea was correct. Okay, and won the game. So, you know, very good idea of thinking. When any of you gonna play games, you're gonna see the forcing move. Seeing the forcing move is not necessarily the big one. Sometimes it's not that easy, but it's not the big one. The big one is what comes after. So, back to Carlsen and Anand. No, not really very bad seeing tactical ideas from Carlsen and Anand, Kramnik Karpov. Not really those that bad players. Okay, so apparently Carlsen sees that. Sees a lot of things. Take, take. Queen e1. I mean here, the position is, oh, yes, here quite amazing. I remember we were analyzing it, and I think most simple players in the world will play the most logical move for black. Not Anand. And I think he was really wrong not playing what was logical. So what is logical?
Take c4.
Take on c, what
Pawn takes c4.
what is white threatening? If you don't know what your opponent threatening, then you don't know what you can play or what you cannot play. White is to play. We were here an hour before. And we said, you look at a position, you say, I do nothing. Nothing. Here, king h8. White to play. What would white play now? What is white's threat? In your head, you need to do it. I do nothing. What is white's threat? You okay with this? Right? So this is white's threat. If we don't understand what is the opponent's main threat, how do we know what we should play, what we shouldn't play, what we can play, what we cannot play? We have to. This is not the right move. Actually, not the right move. But one of us here is going to be obviously playing better than Anand and play a better move. Huh?
A5. Better than the world champion.
I think a5 is best move. To me, it's most logical. By the way, let's see what computers say. I think it's a5. Nathan? Let's see, can you get a flight to India? You need to say, yeah. I mean, the position is reasonable. I'll be a second. The position is reasonable, and a5 is most logical. I think out of 100 grandmasters, 90 would easily would play this move. Honestly, like not saying anything. I mean, okay, this was really bad game by Anand. Actually, last night we've seen not a very pretty game by Anand, and those are the most recent ones. No, he better wake up. But yeah, a5. What is the idea of a5? Well, first of all, not losing the material, and attacking those pawns. Like just gaining some space on the queen side. Rook c8, e5, quite a brave move. And now, Very critical move. I mean, what does black want to play here? Here, no big threats here. If you are black, what would positionally be your ideas for the next few moves? Positionally.
G4, C5.
But you cannot get that. I'll take it.
Oh,
Plus, I am not even certain it's the right thing. If you will play d4 and c5, you know, let's say that I allow you to play that for a second. I'll play here. I think I like white here. You know, I put this mighty beautiful blockade. Those pawns are not really good. You think you have a pass pawn, you have weak pawns. They are stuck. They are stuck. This is weakness forever. This bishop is blocked. This knight is incredible, plus. This blockade is very good. I don't think you want to put your pawns on dark squares though. Just my feeling, I'm pretty certain about that. No, but what you want to play? Knight to? Exactly. Think about it. If you don't have anything concrete, clear immediately, no capture, improve your worst piece, which is you will have a pretty blockading idea. I think that this is the direction. So Carlsen says no. E6. And here actually best move, I remember actually, yes, I was analyzing it. I was quite happy that while doing this on ICC that we found or suggested best move. I think it's f6. You don't want to allow the exchange of bishops. Some people were speaking maybe f5. I think f6. Maybe I don't remember. Yeah, take. But take we know is very questionable. I think after some time, f5 is tiny less than f6. Okay, Fritz. Who cares about Fritz? What? Yeah, he's not yet thinking about f6. He thinks that he's better after take, but he's wrong. I think it was f6. Anand took, which is a very, very, very scary way to play. Knight f4. Wow. I mean, this is just right. I mean, better or not better, it's very clear that white is playing big time for free. Take, d4. Huge weaknesses.
Oh, he did put the pawns under the dark squares.
See how it worked for him. And now, I mean, brave move, but this knight wants to, in some spot, in some dreams, go here. I mean, this is type of position like completely neutralize him. I mean, okay, Anand lost pretty much straightforward on the spot, no fight, but it's not so pleasant to play this.
G4 just keeps the knight horrible.
Nowhere. Yeah, so he plays this move. Maybe some ideas to get the knight. And here I think Carlsen played super strong. That wasn't a simple idea to see. So Nathan, you played better than Anand. Can you play like Carlsen? No? Why no?
Against me.
I mean, logical. Knight to d3, blockading, controlling the e5 square. But that's logical for someone like me. Well, for Carlsen, he's better. That's why you won.
What was going on?
Yeah, he played this move, which was at the beginning a bit surprising, but apparently he really wants to go here, and checkmate. Like, not really easy to stop it, you know, we are joking, but not really easy. Anand played here, and pushed the pawn. I think this was a fatal mistake. But I think this position already not easy. He played here, rook e5. Now, what is the threat now? Somehow I feel this is the idea that was overlooked by Anand. Because if there is no this idea that Carlsen wanted to play, maybe not so easy.
Knight takes h7,
Knight take.
and then queen takes g6.
Excellent job, excellent, exactly. And you know, I always tell, when analyzing, when you are defending, very simple, look at the square around your king. This square. Always, 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 always. Whether you are defending or attacking. Well, maybe one day I will even manage to get an arrow. All right. Seriously, always look at this. There are no defenders. White is attacking with a queen, a knight, a rook, potentially another piece. Heavy burden for this knight. Too much. You need always to look at the square around the king. It's very, very simple. If that square is, you are in a big deficit of pieces there, big danger for black. It doesn't mean that white's attack always successful, or black, doesn't matter, but it just means that it's very dangerous. There are no defenders.
Does that mean it's more likely that a sacrifice works?
Of course. There are just no defenders. So, knight take a7, nothing to do. He moved the king away. Just attacking the pawn. Amazing. If anything steps on d8, knight f7. Queen a6. And now typical move. Maybe I think. That's Karpov. I mean, there were maybe other ways to play, maybe, but what's the rush? You know what Anand did here? He resigned. He resigned. He has no way to play. Now, this is not a very pretty position when you're the world champion, and that's how you get. Pawn is going to fall, horrible pawns, you're going to get checkmated. I mean, he's like, you know, he's been shot, poisoned, stabbed, drowned. Like, I mean, this position, no, White won this on every level. Yeah, and the annoying part for, you know, think about just okay grandmasters, like just grandmasters that were watching it. Like, what's that? I mean, it wasn't that Carlsen played as good as possible, but Anand played, like, honestly, Nathan, that is probably less than 2800 rated, suggests, and I know for myself I'm much less, but we would both play the same move. Instead of moving a rook that is on open file, push the pawn, attack the white's pawn chain, get something in this direction, just gain some space and attack some weaknesses. This was actually the critical moment. The second one, also very questionable, to play the move f6. It's not pretty, but look, this move is not, it's not the prettiest in the world, but black position is not, it's not totally clear. You will say, hey, this bishop is ugly. Okay, but the king is safe, and this pawn can become weak in some situations. I mean, it's not, let's just see, I mean, okay, I know that it's free, it's and this. Okay, you know, like, it's not that, okay, he's suggesting rook d1 as best move, give some advantage, I think some lines are even less. Okay, we are at 0-3 best lines for white on computer. I remember f6 was not so clear. I mean, even if you are at that advantage, it looks somewhat better than the way the game went one-sided. So, we've seen, just like yesterday, one game for Anand, he winning in complicated positions, tactics. He might have better preparation, well, better for him to have better opening preparation, and maybe he can surprise with some lines. I think the first few games are going to be really critical. I mean, if the first two games will be equal, let's say 2 draws, and you see Anand playing comfortable, okay, like not like that he's almost lost and somehow making a draw. Then you just know, okay, he survived that day, he's not going to survive another day. It's just very clear, right? Like in a boxing match, right? You round number 1 or 2, one boxer is punching the other, no knockout, nothing, but it's just clear, okay, where it's heading. So that would be interesting how the first two games, I think, will go, white and black. If Anand's going to play there like a world champion and going to be all right, can be interesting match. Like, I mean, it's a short match. In a 24 games match, I would really think 0 chances for Anand. Like, really, 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 really. Like, I mean, right now, I think the betting ratio is 1-3. I would say that in favor of Carlsen. I would say in a 24 match, no, 1-10 you should take. I mean, really, it's just like you cannot have 100 whatever points gap and survive 24 games match. But 12 games, what does it mean? It means that Anand can steal a game, and then if he's not really easily losing, there'll be a lot of pressure on Carlsen. You know, Carlsen didn't play many matches. He played quite bad, many decisive games. He lost in London. We all remember the big stories, game 12 and 14, and somehow qualified. So it will be interesting. And I'm pretty certain that everyone here is going to be awake at 3:30 in the morning locally.